What's up, everybody, and welcome to the Gooner, a channel dedicated to all things Arsenal Football Club, who, as we all know, are by far the greatest team the world has ever seen. And in this video, I'm going to be taking a look at all the news from today, Friday the 3rd of February, as well as a preview of tomorrow's lunchtime clash against Everton at Goodison Park. But before we get started, it's a new channel. You may want to consider gently caressing the subscribe button the way that Dennis Bergkamp did for one of his goals against Leicester. And if you like the content, love Arsenal, hate Tottenham, perhaps consider smashing the like button, a little bit like Thomas Partey did the ball against Tottenham. So first off, a massive congratulations to Super Mick Arteta, who becomes the first person since Pep Guardiola to win back-to-back Premier League Manager of the Month awards. It's his 5th award, and certainly when you consider that almost a year ago there were a lot more talk about him being sacked than there was him winning Manager of the Month. So I think there's no less than he deserves for utterly transforming our club. And, well, what can you say about January? The video I did yesterday, we talked a lot about that, but it has been an outstanding January where there were many pitfalls we could have come against, and we've sailed through all of those. And just an absolutely massive well done, and lots of love and respect to you, Super Mick Arteta. The other bit of news, although it's not really a shock to any of us, is that Martinelli has now officially signed a 4-year contract on $90,000 a week. You know, if I was his agent, I'd probably be tearing my hair out. When asked recently if he was going to sign, he simply said, "Just get me a pen." In the interview that I watched, he talked about how he loves the club, how he loves his teammates, and, well, we certainly love you too. I think he is one of the most outstanding prospects in world football at the moment, and the idea of him and Saka playing for us for a long time, really exciting. On that, Saka and Saliba still to sign, but fingers crossed. I think Saka's a done deal. Saliba, there were some murmurings, but we've got the best chant for him. Come on. So let's hope that comes through. And finally, news of records being broken. Jakub Kiwior, our new signing from Spezia, in training has apparently been setting the world on fire. Not only has he broken the records for the fastest 40-meter dash, which, when you consider we've had Walcott and Hector Bellerin, is no mean feat, as well as breaking records for that. I'm going to have to check this. Highest agility jump and standing spring record. Brilliant. I think he is really exciting. He's played for the national team 9 times. I don't see him getting into the side for tomorrow or soon, but we'll, a cameo here or there. I'm really looking forward to seeing what he's capable of. So welcome to Arsenal, Jakub Kiwior, and not a bad way to start by breaking some records. So now on to the Everton match, tomorrow's lunchtime kickoff. So on paper, it looks like a really easy match. The team that are serious contenders for the title against a team that's looking like a relegation hot prospect. But to borrow the old cliche, football is not played on paper. And there are some things that we need to consider. Firstly, our form against them. We have lost both of our last 2 trips up there, including last season's woeful display, where we were lackluster, pathetic, played at a walking pace, and couldn't get a win against a team that was in a huge slump of its own. Hadn't won since September, and the atmosphere up there was eerily quiet, which is completely unusual for Goodison Park. It was such a bad performance going into what we hoped would be a run that would see us really vie for top 4 place, that there were actually people calling for Arteta to be sacked. What a difference a year makes, right? So there is that. There is our form against them is not especially good, and that is something that we have to consider. Secondly, and I hate this, but it is something that Arsenal fans know only too well, the new manager bounce. So Everton, having just sacked Frank Lampard, have appointed Sean Dyche. Now, I certainly would rather we were playing this game against Frank Lampard's Walking Dead, but has Sean Dyche really had enough time to get in there and do what he usually does? What we know about Sean Dyche, apart from the fact that he has a voice a little bit like a washing machine before you throw it out, is that his teams are always really well organised and give everything. So if he has had that chance to give that magic impact, perhaps expect to see an Everton team that are really going to come out all guns blazing. The next thing to consider is, what is the mood going to be like? The atmosphere at Goodison, as I said last year, was somber, quiet, and underwhelming. But this year, it could be toxic to a whole new degree. Certainly, recently, Everton's chief executive Denise Barrett-Baxendale was put in a headlock after the Man United game, and the whole board were advised to stay away from the game against Southampton at Goodison Park because of a real and credible threat to their safety. So I'm not even sure the board are going to be there. Is the appointment of Sean Dyche going to lift the fans enough to want them to stop struggle cuddling the board? I'm not sure I would turn up if I was Denise Double-Barreled or Bill Kenwright or Fahid Marshuri, particularly since they didn't make any signings in the transfer market, which is a bit weird, isn't it? I mean, you would think bring a new manager in and then not spend any money. If there was ever a team that needed to spend money, certainly it would be, you'd think they would at least gone and got a striker. But January's a tough time to do transfer business. Perhaps Sean Dyche didn't have long enough, and it's really going to come down to what they start like. I think if they get a goal early on, or if they get, or if there is something to lift the mood, we could be in for a tough time. Personally, I think it's all a bit much to ask Sean Dyche to come in really quickly and settle that team, get Calvert-Lewin scoring. Wouldn't it just be typical, though, if Iwobi scored against us? If he played Iwobi and scored us, if he played Iwobi and he scored against us, that would be another thing that we're all too familiar with. But it's easy to imagine that if they don't start well, the atmosphere could be pretty toxic, which I hope. I hope it's terrible, and I hope that we go up there and get a result. I don't want us to nick it. I'd love us to really impose ourselves, to start well like we have been, and really, scare them up a little bit. So taking a look at the probable lineups, there is almost a full-strength side. Unfortunately, Emil Smith-Rowe is ruled out with a continuation of just a niggling injury. It's not considered to be serious, but obviously if he's not playing, that's a shame. I think he might have been somebody who could have come on and if we needed a bit of a boost in the middle of the game. Far more seriously, though, for the lineup that we've been playing all season, is Thomas Partey is a doubt. That's not to say that he won't play or won't make the squad. Arteta said he was going to see how he gets on in training today. It's the rib injury that saw him come off at half-time against Manchester City. And if he doesn't play, and I'm tending to think that we might want to wrap him in cotton wool a little bit. Arteta is a huge fan of Jorginho, so I would see him come in for that. So to have a quick look at it, my predicted lineup, not particularly difficult to do this with an Arsenal team at the moment where we have an established first team. Ramsdale in goal, Ben White, Zinchenko, Gabriel and Saliba in the back four. I'm going to say I think he will probably put Jorginho in just in case we aggravate an injury to not a rib injury that could be aggravated, could keep him out for a few games. So especially against Everton, he's probably not going to need to have Thomas Partey in there to assure a victory. But I would say Jorginho comes in for Thomas Partey alongside Xhaka, with Odegaard just ahead of them, and a front three of, Saka, Martinelli and Nketiah. Look forward to Trossard maybe coming in and making an impact. And it really feels like we have the main team now, sort of the starting lineup that we wanted. What we're doing now is we're just strengthening that squad just to see if we can develop a little bit further towards being a Premier League winning team. Predictions. I'm going to go all Nostrdarsenalmas on it and say that I think we are going to win 2-0. But I don't think it's going to be anything like a walkover that I really want it to be. I'm prepared to be pleasantly surprised. Isn't it always brilliant when you play first on a Saturday? First of all, less time to wait. Second of all, I know that there's a lot of talk of Man City. They've got a lot of people who've won it. I think that's going against them. I think that having won as many trophies as they have, the hunger's just not there. I'm going to look really stupid if I'm wrong. but I would say we're going to win 2-0 and they might have a bit of a wobble. Anyway, watch this space. Thank you so much for being part of this start of a new channel. I hope you're enjoying the content. I'm loving making it. As I said at the beginning, you may want to caress the like button and smash the subscribe button. And why not check out some of my other videos? Lots of love.